probably wondering what you're looking at, and I don't know anything except for this. This polygon is important. It has a distance of 716 yards. This is the total yardage by the Eagles and Lions, and accurate to the world that this is in. The reason I included this is because the total yards average from 1950 to 2020 is shown here. Rushing yards are in red and passing yards are in blue, and in 1984, the year this game took place, the total yardage for both teams was on average 654 total yards. So what does this mean? Well, 1, overtime means longer games, and 2, this is one of the 4 important things I found during this game. The second is that there were 59,000 people in attendance, and they sat there to see 2 teams in a game in a stalemate. Third is about their records. The Eagles were 6-9-1 and the Detroit Lions were 4-11-1. After the year they had the tie, the Eagles didn't have a winning record until 1987, and before they had gone on losing records. And the Lions didn't have a winning record until 1990. And finally, after this game, the Eagles had an overtime tie 2 years later, while the Lions won't have a tie until 1999. 15 whole years. So what does this mean? It means I'm running out of ideas. So here's a reminder that Barry Bonds would still have the best year than any other batter, even if he didn't have a bat. This is part 2 of every overtime tie game in the NFL. The 49ers and Falcons split a 10-10 tie in 1986, but I couldn't really find anything special about it. So instead I decided to put every Iron Maiden album cover here. I grew up with the band, and I recommend it. However, I found one player on the 49ers that I absolutely need to talk about. This is John Frank. He was the tight end, 6'3", weighed 225 pounds, and was born on April 17, 1992. This all seems normal, but after he retired from football, he later went on to become a hair transplant surgeon. I find it really amusing that a football player would become a doctor based off the amount of injuries they get, but the more I think about it, it makes sense. There was a study conducted on the 1.5 million players in any American football league, and they found that there are 1.2 million football-related injuries per year. 40% of them are strength and sprains, 25% are bruises, 50% dislocations, 10% fractures, and 5% are concussions. I don't know why I'm talking about this because he really isn't actually a doctor, he's just a hair surgeon. So yeah, none of this is important. But in December of the same year, the Cardinals and Eagles had a 10-10 tie, leading to the first time in which 2 overtime ties happened in the same season. I couldn't find anything special about this game, so I'll tell you that Sweden hasn't been in the war since 1814. However, during the creation of this video, I found a player on the Cardinals named Joe Bostic. He was a right guard, 6'3", 265 pounds, and was born on 4/20. And as we all know, that was the same day that Snoop Dogg was born. The Broncos and Packers played the only overtime tie game that I know of to be played in the baseball stadium. Milwaukee County Stadium had housed the Green Bay Packers for 34 years and would keep them there until 1994. In fact, I managed to find the entire record of the Green Bay Packers at the stadium, and after I saw it, my jaw dropped. Maybe after you see it, you'll feel the same thing. So get ready. Here's what it looks like. One single tie. It took me 40 minutes to do this. I did this to show you that this is real, and ties in football are this rare. Out of 152 games, there was one game that ended in a tie, which results in a 0.007% chance of that game happening. Sadly, in 2001, the stadium was demolished and moved. However, you can still visit the original home plate, which they kept. May you rest in peace. can't find anything special about this game at all, but it was National Absurdity Day when I was making it. So I found a Hitler teacup with the word Idaho on it. Look at it. Isn't it beautiful? I'm so sorry. In 1989, Nick Lowery was the star kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, racking up an average of 104 points per season as a kicker. He was the highest scoring kicker in Kansas City Chiefs history, and yet, in his prime, he missed a field goal in overtime, and it was one of 9 missed field goals that year. The next season, he had his best year, only missing 3 field goals. Why is this such a weird sport? After 1989, there wasn't another overtime tie game until 1997, an 8-year span. To put this into perspective, I decided to list a handful of the major events that happened during the span. In 1990, Hubble's Space Telescope was launched. Then the Gulf War started. Then the World Wide Web debuted. Then the Cold War ended. Then 2 crazy hurricanes hit Hawaii. Then Bill Clinton was elected president. Then the World Trade Center was bombed. Then Brazil won the World Cup. O.J. Simpson was acquitted of his crimes. The federal government was shut down. There was a bombing at Centennial Park. And NASA Pathfinder landed on Mars. Keep in mind that this is only a handful of many other things that happened during the span. The Seagulls and Ravens game contains 2 important figures, Matt Stover and Chris Bonial. They were exceptionally talented kickers, and Matt Stover had won 2 Super Bowls and won the Baltimore Ravens Ring of Honor, while Chris Bonial won Super Bowl 30 and tied for most field goals in one game in 1996, 7 field goals. But sadly, this is overtime, and the fabric of logic rips in half during this time. Long story short, they both missed a field goal in overtime, and one of them would have been the game winner. Also, fun fact, this is the first time in which 2 overtime games happened in consecutive weeks. What the heck happened here?
Try